God's power is an undeniable force that transcends human understanding. It is the energy that brought the universe into existence, the invisible hand that orchestrates the rhythms of life, and the guiding light that leads us through our darkest times. When we look at the vastness of the cosmos, the intricacies of nature, and the depth of human emotion, we see glimpses of this infinite power. It is not bound by time or space, and its presence is felt even when unseen. This power is what breathes life into our souls, giving us strength when we are weak and hope when all seems lost. In our daily lives, we often seek power in material things, wealth, status, technology, but these are fleeting. The power of God, however, is eternal. It is the force that turns chaos into order, despair into hope, and brokenness into wholeness. This power is evident in the simplest moments of life, the sunrise that brings a new day, the quiet strength of a person facing adversity, and the unspoken bond between loved ones. God's power is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is the silent force that carries us when we can no longer walk. Throughout history, we see countless examples of God's power at work. From the parting of the Red Sea to the miracles performed by Jesus, these moments serve as reminders that nothing is impossible for God. Even today, in a world driven by logic and science, there are countless stories of divine intervention that defy explanation. These moments remind us that there is a higher power at work, a force greater than anything we can comprehend. God's power is not limited to grand miracles or historical events. It is present in our everyday lives. It is the inner strength that helps a mother care for her children despite overwhelming challenges, the resilience of a person fighting illness, and the courage of someone standing up for what is right. This power is within us because we are created in God's image. It is a reminder that we are never alone, no matter how difficult our circumstances may be. Yet, recognizing God's power requires humility. In a world that often glorifies self-reliance and individual success, it can be difficult to acknowledge that we are dependent on a higher power. But when we do, we open ourselves to a source of strength that is far greater than anything we can achieve on our own. God's power is not something to be controlled or harnessed. It is a gift to be embraced. It is the force that lifts us when we fall, guides us when we are lost, and empowers us to fulfill our purpose. There is a profound peace that comes from acknowledging God's power in our lives. It allows us to let go of our fears and anxieties because we know that we are held by an unshakable force. This power gives us the confidence to face the unknown, the strength to overcome obstacles, and the faith to keep going even when the path is unclear. It reminds us that no matter how big our problems may seem, they are insignificant in the face of God's infinite power. God's power also calls us to action. It is not a passive force, but an active one that inspires us to live with purpose. When we recognize the power of God, we are compelled to reflect that power in our own lives. We are called to love without limits, to forgive without conditions, and to serve without expecting anything in return. God's power transforms us from within, making us instruments of His will in the world. In moments of doubt and despair, it is God's power that sustains us. It is the light that pierces through the darkness, reminding us that even the longest night will end with the dawn. This power does not promise a life without challenges, but it assures us that we will never face them alone. It is a constant presence, a steady hand that guides us through the storms of life. Ultimately, recognizing God's power changes the way we see the world and our place in it. It shifts our focus from what we can achieve on our own to what we can accomplish through Him. It reminds us that our strength is not measured by our abilities, but by our faith in the one who created us. God's power is the foundation upon which we build our lives, the source of our hope, and the reason we keep moving forward even when the road is difficult. In every breath we take, every challenge we overcome, and every act of kindness we witness, we see evidence of God's power. It is the force that unites us, strengthens us, and gives our lives meaning. It is a reminder that no matter how small we may feel, we are part of something far greater than ourselves. God's power is the heartbeat of the universe, the spark that ignites our souls, and the promise that we are never alone. Power alone is not enough to create meaning in our lives. It is purpose that gives power its direction, its significance, and its ultimate value. God's purpose for each of us is what transforms our existence from mere survival into a journey filled with meaning, fulfillment, and impact. Without purpose, power is like a ship without a compass, drifting aimlessly without a destination. God's purpose is that compass, guiding us through the complexities of life and giving our actions depth and significance. It is the reason we strive, the force behind our passions, and the anchor that keeps us grounded when life's storms threaten to overwhelm us. From the moment we are born, there is a divine plan for each of us, intricately woven into the fabric of our existence. This plan is not random or accidental. It is intentional, designed with love and precision by a creator who knows us better than we know ourselves. God's purpose is not a burden but a gift, an invitation to live a life that matters. It is what calls us to rise each morning with hope, to pursue our dreams with determination, and to serve others with compassion. It is the unseen hand that shapes our path, turning our experiences, both good and bad, into building blocks for our destiny. Understanding God's purpose requires trust. Often we want immediate answers and clear directions, but God's plan unfolds in His time, not ours. There are moments when we question why certain things happen, why we face challenges, or why our path seems uncertain. Yet it is in these moments of uncertainty that God's purpose is most at work. Each setback, every heartbreak, and all the obstacles we encounter are not roadblocks but stepping stones leading us to where we are meant to be. God's purpose transforms our pain into growth, our failures into lessons, and our dreams into reality. Living with purpose means recognizing that our lives are not accidents. Every talent we possess, every experience we've had, and every person we meet is part of God's design. Our purpose is often revealed through the passions that stir our hearts, the injustices that move us to action, and the dreams that refuse to let us rest. When we align our lives with God's purpose, we find clarity amid confusion and strength amid weakness. Our actions become more than tasks. They become acts of faith and expressions of our calling. There is immense power in knowing that our lives have meaning beyond the material world. God's purpose gives us the courage to dream big, the resilience to keep going, and the humility to serve others. It reminds us that our successes are not solely our own, but are part of a larger plan designed to bless not just us, but those around us. Purpose turns our ambitions into missions, our work into service, and our lives into testimonies of God's grace. God's purpose is not always grand in the eyes of the world, but it is always significant in His eyes. It may be found in the quiet sacrifices of a parent, the tireless efforts of a teacher, or the kindness of a stranger. Every act of love, every moment of compassion, and every step of faith is a reflection of God's purpose at work. It is not about the size of what we do, but the heart with which we do it. Purpose is what turns ordinary moments into extraordinary opportunities to reflect God's love and power. When we embrace God's purpose, we begin to see our challenges differently. We understand that setbacks are not punishments, but preparations for what lies ahead. God uses our struggles to refine us, to strengthen our faith, and to prepare us for the purpose He has set for us. This perspective changes everything. Instead of being discouraged by difficulties, we are motivated by the belief that every challenge is a step toward fulfilling our destiny. Ultimately, God's purpose is what gives our lives meaning. It is what drives us to pursue excellence, to love unconditionally, and to persevere despite hardships. It is the reason we dream, the force behind our passions, and the anchor that keeps us grounded. Without purpose, power is empty. But with purpose, power becomes a tool for change, growth, and fulfillment. Our lives become more than just a series of events. They become a story written by God, each chapter filled with lessons, victories, and moments of grace. In embracing God's purpose, we find not only our path, but also our peace, knowing that every step we take is guided by a divine hand, leading us to a life of significance and eternal impact. Each person is born with a unique purpose that only they can fulfill. This purpose is not accidental, but is intentionally designed by God, who has crafted every individual with distinct talents, passions, and experiences. Just as every fingerprint is different, so too is every person's mission in life. Recognizing that we each have a God-given purpose gives meaning to our existence and transforms our daily lives from mere routines into opportunities for fulfillment and impact. This purpose is not reserved for a select few. It is embedded within every soul, waiting to be discovered and embraced. The journey to finding one's purpose often begins with a deep sense of curiosity, a persistent question in the heart that asks, "Why am I here?" It is a question that lingers in quiet moments, urging us to seek more than what the world offers. This quest for purpose is not always straightforward, and it often requires patience, reflection, and faith. Yet the pursuit is worth every effort, because when we align our lives with the purpose God has set for us, we experience a profound sense of peace and fulfillment that nothing else can provide. Our unique purpose is often revealed through the passions that ignite our spirits and the burdens that weigh on our hearts. The things that bring us joy, the injustices that move us to action, and the dreams that refuse to fade are all clues to the purpose God has given us. What excites one person may leave another indifferent, and what breaks one person's heart may barely affect another. This is by design. God has placed specific callings within each of us because the world needs our individual contributions. No one else can fulfill the mission that God has given to you, just as you cannot fulfill someone else's mission. Discovering our purpose also requires faith, especially when the path ahead seems unclear. There are times when we may feel lost or uncertain, but it is often in these moments that God is working most profoundly. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, shapes us and prepares us for our purpose. The challenges we face build resilience, the setbacks teach humility, and the victories instill gratitude. Each moment is a piece of a larger puzzle that, when complete, reveals the beautiful picture of our God-given mission. It is easy to fall into the trap of comparison, especially in a world where success is often measured by wealth, fame, or achievements. However, God's purpose for each person is unique and cannot be compared to another's. What may seem small or insignificant in the eyes of the world can have immense value in God's plan. A simple act of kindness, a word of encouragement, or a helping hand can ripple through time and space, touching lives in ways we may never fully understand. Our worth is not determined by what we accomplish, but by the faithfulness with which we pursue our purpose. Embracing our unique purpose requires courage. It often means stepping out of our comfort zones, taking risks, and trusting God even when the path is uncertain. It means being willing to fail, knowing that failure is not the end but a part of the journey. It means listening to the quiet voice of God amid the noise of the world, even when it calls us to take a different path from everyone else. This courage is fueled by the knowledge that our purpose is not self-serving, but is meant to serve others and glorify God. When we live out our God-given purpose, we inspire others to do the same. Our lives become testimonies of what is possible when we trust in God's plan. We become beacons of hope, showing that it is possible to live a life of meaning, joy, and impact. Each person's purpose contributes to the greater good, creating a tapestry of love, service, and transformation that reflects God's kingdom on earth. Ultimately, knowing that we each have a unique God-given purpose gives us the motivation to keep going, even when life gets tough. It reminds us that we are not here by accident, but by divine design. It encourages us to embrace our individuality, pursue our passions, and trust that every step we take is part of a larger plan. Our purpose is not just about what we do, but about who we are and the difference we make in the lives of others. It is a gift from God that, when embraced, leads to a life of fulfillment, impact, and eternal significance. Faith means trusting the journey, even when the path is unclear. It is the quiet confidence that, despite the uncertainties, setbacks, and challenges we face, there is a greater plan at work. Trusting the journey requires surrendering our need for immediate answers and embracing the unknown with the assurance that God is guiding every step. It is easy to trust when life is smooth and everything falls into place, but true faith is tested when the road becomes difficult and the destination seems distant. And in these moments, faith becomes our anchor, holding us steady when everything around us feels uncertain. The beauty of faith is that it does not demand that we have all the answers. Instead, it invites us to believe in the unseen, to hold on to hope when circumstances seem hopeless, and to keep moving forward even when the path is obscured. Faith whispers to us that every setback is temporary, Every challenge is an opportunity for growth, and every detour is part of a divine plan. It is the quiet strength that fuels our perseverance, the inner voice that encourages us to take one more step when we feel like giving up. Life is unpredictable. There are moments of joy and triumph, but there are also times of sorrow and disappointment. Faith does not shield us from difficulties, but it gives us the courage to face them. It reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles, that there is a higher power walking beside us, and that our trials are not in vain. Every challenge we encounter is shaping us, refining us, and preparing us for the purpose God has set for our lives. Faith is trusting that even when we cannot see the whole picture, each piece is falling into place according to God's perfect plan. Trusting the journey also means accepting that not everything will go as we expect. There will be times when doors close, plans fail, and dreams are delayed. In these moments, it is tempting to question God's plan or to give in to doubt, but faith calls us to trust that every closed door is leading us to something better, every failed plan is redirecting us to our true purpose, and every delay is teaching us patience and resilience. It is often in hindsight that we see how God's hand was at work, turning what seemed like setbacks into stepping stones, separating or into enduring. One of the most challenging aspects of faith is learning to let go of control. We often want to map out every detail of our lives, to know exactly where we are going and how we will get there. But faith requires us to release our grip on control and to trust in God's timing and direction. It is about surrendering our fears, our doubts, and our need for certainty and placing them in God's hands. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of strength, for it takes immense courage to trust in something greater than ourselves. Faith also transforms the way we view our failures and mistakes. Instead of seeing them as defeats, faith allows us to see them as lessons. Each failure becomes a stepping stone, each mistake a chance to grow. Faith encourages us to keep trying, to keep believing, and to keep pushing forward, knowing that our journey is not defined by our setbacks, but by our perseverance. It teaches us that even our lowest moments have purpose and that every fall is an opportunity to rise stronger. Moreover, faith connects us to hope. In a world filled with uncertainty, hope is a precious gift. It is the belief that no matter how dark the night, the dawn will come. Faith keeps that hope alive, reminding us that better days are ahead, that every storm will pass, and that every challenge will lead to a breakthrough. This hope is what gives us the strength to keep going, to keep believing, and to keep dreaming, even when the odds are against us. Ultimately, trusting the journey means believing that our lives are part of a larger story written by God. It means accepting that while we may not always understand the plot twists, the author knows exactly how the story will unfold. Faith is the bridge between where we are and where we are meant to be. It is the light that guides us through the darkness, the strength that carries us through the storms, and the assurance that no matter how difficult the journey, we are never alone. Faith invites us to trust that every step, every challenge, and every moment is leading us to the purpose and destiny God has planned for us. Setbacks are an inevitable part of life, but when viewed through the lens of faith, they become more than just obstacles. They become opportunities for growth and transformation. God's plan often unfolds in ways that we do not expect, and setbacks are a vital part of that journey. It is easy to feel discouraged when things do not go as planned, but every challenge we face is a step toward the purpose God has set for us. What may seem like a delay or failure in the moment is often a crucial part of our preparation for what lies ahead. God uses our struggles to refine us, to strengthen our character, and to teach us lessons that success alone could never impart. When we face setbacks, our immediate reaction is often frustration or disappointment. We question why things went wrong, why our efforts were not enough, or why we have to endure hardships. However, faith invites us to see these moments differently. Each setback is a tool in God's hands, shaping us into the people we are meant to become. Just as a sculptor chisels away at a block of marble to create a masterpiece, God uses our setbacks to remove our doubts, fears, and weaknesses, revealing the strength, resilience, and faith within us. Many of the most successful and impactful people in history faced significant setbacks before achieving their dreams. Their stories remind us that failure is not the end, but a necessary part of the journey. What sets them apart is not that they never experienced failure, but that they refused to let failure define them. They understood that every setback was a lesson, every challenge an opportunity to grow, and every delay a chance to prepare for something greater. In the same way, God uses our setbacks to prepare us for the blessings and responsibilities that come with fulfilling our purpose. It is often in our lowest moments that we draw closest to God. When everything is going well, it is easy to rely on our own strength. But when we face setbacks, we are reminded of our need for God's guidance and support. These moments of vulnerability open our hearts to God's voice, teaching us to trust Him more deeply. Our setbacks become sacred spaces where we learn to lean on God, to seek His wisdom, and to find comfort in His promises. This dependence on God transforms our setbacks from painful experiences into profound lessons of faith and trust. God's timing is often different from our own. We may have a vision for our lives, but God sees the entire picture. What we perceive as a setback may actually be a divine delay, designed to protect us from harm, to prepare us for greater opportunities, or to align us with His perfect timing. Trusting in God's timing requires patience and faith, but it also brings peace. When we believe that every setback is part of God's plan, we can face challenges with confidence, knowing that our story is still being written and that the best is yet to come. Setbacks also teach us resilience. Each time we face a challenge and refuse to give up, we become stronger. This strength is not just physical or mental, it is spiritual. It is the kind of strength that allows us to stand firm in the face of adversity, to keep believing when everything seems hopeless, and to persevere when the world tells us to quit. God uses our setbacks to build this resilience within us, preparing us for the bigger challenges and greater victories that lie ahead. Our setbacks can also inspire others. When people see us facing challenges with faith, perseverance, and hope, they are encouraged to do the same. Our ability to overcome setbacks becomes a testimony of God's power and faithfulness. We may never know how many lives we touch simply by refusing to give up, by trusting God in difficult times, and by continuing to pursue our purpose despite the obstacles. In this way, our setbacks not only shape us, but also impact those around us. Ultimately, every setback is a setup for a comeback. God never wastes our pain, our failures, or our challenges. Each one is used to propel us forward, to teach us valuable lessons, and to prepare us for the purpose He has designed for us. When we view our setbacks through the lens of faith, we begin to see them not as barriers, but as bridges that lead us to our destiny. We learn to embrace our challenges, knowing that God is at work even in our darkest moments, turning our setbacks into stepping stones for our future. Living with purpose is more than just a lofty idea. It is a daily commitment to align our lives with the plan God has designed for us. Each day presents countless choices, and every decision we make either brings us closer to or further from our purpose. Embracing purpose means waking up each morning with intention, understanding that our time on earth is limited, and choosing to make every moment count. It means recognizing that our lives are not random, but intricately woven into a larger story, one that is authored by God. When we live with purpose, our actions are driven not by fleeting desires or external pressures, but by an inner conviction that we are here for a reason. Purpose gives meaning to even the most mundane tasks. When we understand that our lives have significance, everything we do becomes an act of faith. A simple conversation can be an opportunity to encourage someone, a challenging task can be a moment to demonstrate perseverance, and a setback can be a chance to show resilience. Purpose transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary opportunities. It shifts our perspective from merely surviving each day to actively contributing to God's plan. This mindset not only brings fulfillment, but also inspires those around us to seek their own purpose. Living with purpose also means being mindful of the people we encounter. Every relationship, whether brief or long-lasting, is an opportunity to reflect God's love and power. Purpose calls us to be present, to listen, and to serve. It reminds us that our interactions have the potential to impact lives in ways we may never fully understand. When we live with purpose, we become intentional in our relationships, seeking to uplift, encourage, and support those around us. We understand that our purpose is not just about personal success, but about contributing to the greater good, about making the world a better place through our actions. One of the greatest challenges in living with purpose is staying true to it in the face of distractions and setbacks. The world is filled with noise, pulling us in countless directions and tempting us to prioritize temporary pleasures over lasting impact. But purpose requires focus. It demands that we stay grounded in our faith, that we keep our eyes on the bigger picture, and that we resist the urge to settle for less than what God has planned for us. This focus is not always easy, but it is essential. It is what keeps us going when the path is difficult, what drives us to keep striving when success seems distant, and what gives us hope when everything seems uncertain. Living with purpose also means embracing growth. God's purpose for our lives is not static. It evolves as we grow and learn. Each experience, whether positive or negative, shapes us and prepares us for the next chapter. Living with purpose requires a willingness to learn from our mistakes, to seek wisdom, and to continually strive to become the best version of ourselves. It means being open to change, being willing to step out of our comfort zones, and being ready to take risks for the sake of our calling. Growth is often uncomfortable, but it is necessary. It is through growth that we become equipped to fulfill our purpose. Another vital aspect of living with purpose is perseverance. The journey is rarely easy, and there will be moments of doubt, failure, and exhaustion. But purpose gives us the strength to keep going. It reminds us why we started in the first place and encourages us to keep moving forward, even when the road is tough. Perseverance is the fuel that keeps the fire of purpose burning. It is what separates those who merely dream from those who achieve. When we persevere, we demonstrate our faith not only to ourselves, but to the world. We show that our purpose is worth fighting for, worth sacrificing for, and worth pursuing no matter the obstacles. Living with purpose also means celebrating the journey. It is easy to become so focused on the destination that we forget to appreciate the process. But every step, every challenge, and every victory is part of our story. Purpose invites us to find joy in the journey, to celebrate our progress, and to be grateful for the lessons we learn along the way. It teaches us that the journey is just as important as the destination and that every moment is a gift. Ultimately, living with purpose is about trust. It is about trusting that God has a plan for our lives, trusting that our efforts are not in vain, and trusting that every step we take is leading us to something greater. When we live with purpose, we align our lives with God's vision, and in doing so, we find true fulfillment, joy, and peace. We become lights in a world that often feels dark, beacons of hope to those who are lost, and living testimonies of God's power and love. Purpose is not just a destination. It is a way of life, a daily commitment to be who God created us to be, and to do what He has called us to do.